So, as you could tell, I just got through running across the cornfields with my dogs to come over here on a Saturday and say hi to everybody. So I'll get better at this. We'll get higher quality in the editing room because I do all my own production too. Anyway, again, love you guys. Go say hi to somebody. Just wave at somebody. Start there. Just wave at some people. Younger people, older people. I did that backwards, didn't I? Younger people, older people. Just go out and say hi. Let's start. There was a hashtag that Barbie wants to get started. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look through some of the old films. We need to be pulling together and discussing these items, and not be afraid to have a dinner. What do they call it? Table dinner, or around the dinner table. Politics is a device to keep this country moving forward. I know that all the people in the middle class want this country to keep moving forward. I also know that the politicians we have currently in place on both sides of the aisle, some way more than others, but we have a situation now where the politicians don't want us to necessarily move forward. They want, and our education and our information to be lower and lower so that they can control and control more. They have very perfect lives, really. And these are the things we don't understand. You know, we need to really be able to have the courage and have the patience to be looking at our politicians more directly, with more information. As I've said before, we have a utopia coming, and if we don't have control over our politicians, as that utopia comes, then we won't have that utopia. We will be moved into whatever needs that the country has, without the rewards. This middle class of America has been stronger and done more than my own. I know I'm biased, but than any other. As a matter of fact, all the middle classes, around the world, is what the economy is built on, and we have no say at how that money is spent.
I guess I got to put myself back on stage, huh? How you doing, folks? This is Insights and Straight Talk, as you know. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here. And I am your host, Rodd Duff. And welcome to our mini series. This is Insights and Straight Talk. This is the Monday morning coffee and tea time. So pour a cup, feel the warmth, and pull up a chair. Let's kind of have a little chit chat about what this show is all about. We talked about how in that introduction, that was taken a little over a year ago, and it was one of the first things that we did. It was probably about 100 things, about 100. Let's see, we're at 375. We're at 375 shows now. That was probably about the 100th show, probably somewhere in there. That edit was taken out of that. Check us out on YouTube at Rodd Duff 1939. As I said, pull up a chair with this new series that we're doing. We're going to go through the history and what this country, what this show is all about. For after all, the great middle class is the backbone of America. And that's the main point that we're really pushing this process to to realize that as a united group, this great middle class is the most powerful force ever to show itself on this stage called the human experience. So this show's got 4 lanes, and we're going to go through those. And then we've started to really grow the Barbie-isms and the talk around the table and the regeneration school project. There's a real lot going on, and I'm excited at the way it's going. We've gotten over, looks like about 100 more subscribers in the last week. We got, I think, 20 over the weekend, and it's really getting close. Please subscribe. Please like the episodes, assuming you like them, obviously. Looks like we've got a couple people starting to wiggle their way in, starting to pull up a chair and feel the warmth. So I really want to dive in a little deeper in this show about what this show is all about. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. We're going to be dropping probably 2 and a Barbie-ism in a week each week for what's coming up in the early layouts of what the shows are going to be about coming up. We're going to review the shows that just went through. We have these different topic lanes, so we've got a lot to talk about. I think I shaved a little too low today. Yeah, that it just doesn't have enough down there. I want to get that back up a little bit. I did say we were going to get better. I don't know how much we've accomplished that at this point, but we're definitely trying. Going to go see my granddaughter this weekend. Her birthday is on Saturday, and her birthday party is on Saturday, the day after Thanksgiving or after Halloween, obviously. And so, it's an exciting time, and I'm feeling very blessed that we have such great people in the audience each and every day. We have a real dedicated and very intelligent group. But like I said, sign up for our Substack newsletter, and it's free sign up. So it looks like we've got a few people joining in here. It looks like we got about 13 people or so. As I said, subscribe. We're really pushing to get to 10,000. We're at 8,800, and I think it's 40-ish right now. And so here's the thing, and this is something I like to say: before we rebuild the world around us, we must first rebuild the one within us. The mantra of this show is one conversation at a time, building the great middle class from the inside out, and we can only do that by rebuilding each one of us from the inside out. And that's why we have the different lanes. This is the heart of what we talk about, is rebuilding ourselves from the inside out. If you watch the shows, you see a common thread in there, a common theme. Like I said, we're going to talk about the heart and the history of Barbie-isms, why these conversations matter more than ever for the great American middle class. You can read the first Barbie. As a matter of fact, go into the description. There's a Substack link there where you can see the very first Barbie-ism, which was dropped last week on Thursday. And like I said, I'm gonna, after the show, I'm gonna finish off a few things and get that back, that next one set. I've set it up. I've got an automation that it will be helping me to be a one-man band, as I said in the intro. Even the production. You see the social media videos and the clips and the shorts. I do all that myself at this point till we can get the subscribers up and really moving forward. So over the next 2 weeks, we'll dedicate an open mic day. It won't always be Monday. I've got the schedule already, but you'll be seeing those. You can see those schedules now. Go on to our YouTube at Rodd Duff 1939, RODD DUFF 1939. So each day over the next 2 weeks, I think it's 3 this week and 2 next week, we are going to be dedicating a day. Today is the general, hey, this is what we're all about. This is what we do. Here are the 4 lanes, and this is some history and some information about each lane, just to help as we're growing. There's more and more people coming on. Like I said, we've done 375 shows now, and we have 74 people on. Appreciate you guys coming in. I want to give a shout out to the Mangum City Library, who is really passionate about the drive that we're doing with the Rejuvenation School Project and the Voices at the Table. So each day we're gonna start off tomorrow on the history and what's about Barbie-isms. So this is about exploring how these things connect to your life, your work, and your world. Lane 1, which I really want, we haven't done enough of those lately. It's current events, political leadership, and the great middle class. That's the kind of the subheading. It's about cutting through the noise to spotlight what really matters to working families and communities, and how our politics affect us. I mean, we see it very, very rigidly. Talk about a spotlight. 122 people on. Please subscribe. Please like the episode. Please not only make comments here, but leave comments on the show itself so we can continue the conversation going. I respond to all comments that are left on the show in the community. Trying this new couple of technologies, so I might be a little bit sluggish in presentation today. We do have 137 people on. Please subscribe. Please like the episode. We're on a push to get to 10,000 subscribers. That's our first milestone, and we're 1,170 away, something like that, to get to 10,000. So lane 2 is industry. So we have politics, and let's stay on politics and current events right now, because it is a crazy time. This show, I won't get into about the reason the show started was because of the book that I'm writing and started to query and then started this. But this show, when we first started, Barbie and I both, was a very tenuous time, and still is, about political issues, the nation, the people, the divide within the great middle class. And here's the thing that sucks, is that we allow our politics to run us and divide us. It's how does one conquer? They divide and conquer. Looks like we've got some questions coming in. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Bradley Pomp, promise you a shout out every time I see you, brother. Haven't seen you in a week or so, but glad you're here. I'll get to your question in a second. What we really need to do is we really need to sit down and have a hard discussion with ourselves and have that discussion. In the beginning, I said a hashtag, and I couldn't remember what the name of that hashtag that producer Barbie wanted to get going. And I really would like to get going is a watch party of like this right here, a bunch of people with similar interests, maybe opposing opinions or knowledge, or it's about going into, say, a watch party, going into a conversation, or just waving at somebody to kind of get to know them, to start bringing this whole thing back together. How do they separate us, men and women? That's basically you got them all split into now half, right? More or less, a little bit more women than men, but basically half. And then you, by race, by melatonin, by color, by religion, and then you get into the politics stuff, and then they start throwing shiny things around so that we get in and we get distracted about that or distracted about that. At the end of the day, it's about what is best for the American middle class, for the people of this country. They're putting some interesting things out there now, and a friend of mine stopped by last night, came over. We hung out on the porch for about, 2 hours or so, and we were just talking about a little bit of everything. This dude has been all over the world, and he's led a pretty interesting life, and interesting dude to talk to, and with his background. He's an oil man, retired, but he's been with bands. He's been all over the world, and like I said, he's a character. But this political, and we got into some of the discussions, and there's a lot going on there. But here, I want to just kind of focus on this for a second. Then I'll go to the next one: innovation, entrepreneurship, leadership. But I've always believed in trust but verify. I'm always going to support our president. We want somebody to be successful in running our country, just like most politics is local, just like all of the politicians that we elect in. Problem is, though, we just vote all the way down one side or the other, or a name we recognize or a commercial we might have seen. We don't do any real research, and we're all guilty of that. I'm not standing in a glass house and throwing stones. Not a smart thing to do, but I am pointing out that we all need to do better. And the reason is because look at what's going on right now. So the country is literally divided in half. I think there's a lot of change that's occurring. Honestly, I would not be surprised. Trust but verify. Right now, I trust. I would not be surprised if that number gets to like 75-25 pretty soon. Here's why. If you look at what's going on with ICE, and I'm going to just start telling you some things about how I feel currently. Not all the time, just depends on the situation, right? And why I say that is what's going on with ICE and the disturbances and the media outrage and the stuff that happens is to me is so, it's devastating, it's disgusting, it's a bad mic location. I don't know, is that better? It's horrible. We have 217 people on. Please subscribe. We're getting to 10,000. We're on a push to get to 10,000 by November, and we were. Let's see what. So we were at 17 and change about 2 weeks ago. We're at what did I say that for? We were at 8,737, something like that, about 2 weeks ago on a Monday, and now we're at 8,837. I got to look at the actual count. I don't have YouTube up. Oh, actually, I have it right here. Hold on. Let me tell you where we are at. Go to here. Go to my channel. Go to Analytics. Right now, we're at 8,830. So we've gained over 100 and change. Really, October has been a big month as far as if you look at it from month to month to month to month. We started this just over a year ago in September 7th, and in that time we went from 0 to 8,830. I do a lot of marketing, so there's some advertising there. I did a little bit of this while I was in my building my machinery business, so there was a little bit of momentum going in, but real proud of where we are, real proud of our subscribers, real proud of our audience members and what you guys do day in and day out. So if we look at what the administration is doing now, they're literally doing everything. I've always said this needs to be, every decision coming out of the government must be first and always for the people, by the people, and of the people. They are in Washington, they're in their local governments to do our bidding, the citizens of these United States. What I believe is that citizens should be thought first, and let's take care of our own house. And I see that happening. The government is shut down, but I see for the first time a president and an administration that's hitting points that, hey, look at our politics are not going to get in the way of people's this and that. Now, today's a real big day because some of the checks for federal employees may not be going out or are not going out. That's going to be a real defining time. I guess I got to turn my phone not off, but silent. That's going to be a real defining time to see what people literally how they react to that, and that's going to be interesting to see. So, like I said, we're running to 10,000. We're close. I believe that ICE is a necessary and critical thing at this time. The government shutdown is interesting. There's been tons of them through history, obviously, and that's an irresponsibility and poor leadership by our officials, by our leadership, by our political leadership. I think they shouldn't be paid if there's a shutdown. And I've heard some comments that, oh no, there's people that are in the House or in the Senate that have small children and they can't afford to not be without that money. Really? You're causing the pain, and thank goodness there's people that say stuff like that are starting to get some real pushback from organizations that haven't done that in the past, meaning news outlets that haven't done that in the past. It's been kind of a free ride. And the reporter responded back, this was Bernie Sanders. The reporter responded back, well, what do you think about the people that have children that aren't getting checks because you shut down the government? And there was another lady that said something else along the same lines. I forget who she was or is, but she said something along the line of, this is the only tactical advantage we have right now. So their politics is more important than the people in their constituents. Their politics, let me repeat that, are more important than their constituents. And that's the whole point of why we're here and what we're doing. I think Doge is an awesome thing. I think the school system needs to be restructured, and I'm doing a lot of work on that. We'll get to that in a minute. So that's kind of lane one, just a little taste. Obviously, on over the next 2 weeks, we're going to spend a whole show on each lane and really get into my politics, what I believe. I'm an independent. So is Bernie Sanders. So what does that mean? So what does that mean to me? Independent is in the middle, and I lean left a little bit on social issues. You know, as far as people, as far as I'll get deeper into that. So on social issues, I lean slightly to the left. On financial issues or you know, money side of things, I lean slightly to the right. And I think that's where most people are in this country. And unfortunately, the people who are getting all the voices, all the making all the noise, are both sides or the extreme sides. And that's a very, very small amount. I'll give you an example there. The transgender is, what is it, less than 1% of the population, and they have the loudest voice in that arena. And it's about not discussing it, it's about screaming at each other. And so nothing gets moved forward. The same with this whole Antifa thing, with the Muslim issues that are starting to really show their face. There's a lot that needs to be talked about, and I think that 90%, 80 at least percent of the country is going to go, yeah, I get that. Because I don't believe that everybody's hearing the same information. You know, it's like an example I use. So what do? They give misinformation back and forth. It's like having a jar with red ants and black ants. You know, they're kind of mortal enemies. But in a jar, they'll just kind of walk around and, you know, just kind of hang out and do their thing. Shake that jar a little bit and they start killing each other. That's what our government does to us. And almost literally at this point. So let's get into a couple of questions here before I go on to lane 2. How did you come up with the concept of 4 lanes? Great question, Bradley. So I wanted to organize it a little better. And there's people that want to support us, and I want to align with the people who want to support us. I want to make sure we're aligned in our journeys, our missions. There's people that really are throwing a lot of backing and support behind the 4th lane, which is basically where the rejuvenation school system project sits, where Voices Around the Table sits. It's about community. And I'll get into that. So each lane has its own, like I said, lane 1, politics, lane 2, industry, innovation, and a new world with new food and new money. That's AI coming. That's the Jetsons are here. They're on their way. And then we get into mental health. And each one of these are a place where people can really focus on what their interests are into a certain lane. And within that lane, there's playlists. So, you know, YouTube has playlists, and that way you kind of organize what kind of subject this is. I wanted to make each one of those playlists a little more broad into a big topic area. And within that, there's different topics that we talk about, you know, holistic healing, as well as, you know, comparing that with traditional medicine. You need both, I believe. Religions, the different religions, and those discussions. Thank you, Bradley, very much for that question. Let's see, Jeffrey here. What do you got here? What does pouring from a full cup mean to you personally? And that's a Barbie-ism. Thank you, Jeffrey, for pulling that out. That's a Barbie-ism. And what Barbie-isms, what pouring from a full cup means, rebuilding from the inside out. So there's an example. Let me see. Why don't I do this? I'm going to read the first Barbie-ism. Let me go back to my channel here. I'm going to probably have a little bit of an issue in that I'm going to pull up today's episode. And in today's episode, so I'm going to take the sound off of this, and then I'm going to open this up. You're actually watching me go to the description. Let's see, there's YouTube, Substack, subscribe. Where's my Barbie-ism? Come on, Barbie. It's on the Substack, so maybe I can. Where did I? Oh, I know where I have it. I have it over here, I think. In Barbie-ism. There we are. So you can pour from you can't pour from an empty cup, but you can refill it with laughter. And that's part of what comes in our newsletter each week, 2 times a week. When we first started Insights, here, let me bring it over here so you're not looking at my earlobe. When we first started Insights and Straight Talk, there were days I was running on fumes. This is from producer Barbie. This is through the Barbie-isms. Juggling guests, tech issues. Oh my God, still having them, but there were all new, just learning all new stuff, the Jetsons, So Barbie was running on fumes, juggling guests, tech issues, coffee that never stayed hot long enough. One morning, right before we went live, everything went sideways. The mic wasn't working, Rodd was rebooting StreamYard, and I was ready to scream. I do miss those days. Then I looked at him, and I don't know why I get emotional about certain things. Is somebody tell me that? Then I looked at him and we both just started laughing. Like deep belly, can't catch your breath laughing. The moment changed everything. So the show went on, the audience loved it, and I realized something powerful. When you let laughter lead, burnout loses its grip. Her takeaway, laughter is energy medicine. It's free, it's instant, and highly contagious. Refill daily, repeat as needed. That's the answer to your question. And as you can tell, I get a little emotional. That's what drives this show is the effects, the memories, the things in the past, the things I didn't do and should have done, wish I had. And what Barbie told me just a week or so ago. She said, you built your machinery business. That was your ego. This show is out of love. The other was out of my ego. And I agree with her. In retrospect, I look back at that and it makes perfect sense. So, Jeffrey, that's my answer there. The adventure show, how you guys doing? Which lane do you think most people struggle to balance the most? Well, that'd be mental health. Well, I mean, you look at it, that we're struggling with our politics and current events. I wouldn't say the most because we should be more, but people aren't involved. So the struggle continues. Industry and innovation, I think, people live in the world, and our audience is more of a younger audience, in that there's probably a lot of the workforce issues that are coming because of AI, how that change coming. I think that's not as difficult for a larger number of people to manage. Mental health is a real big one. for obvious reasons. We have addiction in there. We have family. You know what addiction and mental health does to a family, to a relationship, to a life. But you break that further down. We all know somebody who's dealt with or struggling with mental health addictions, and it all comes. Last week we had a beautiful show. Young lady was on that. Well, she's got 50 years experience in this industry, and we were talking about how that breakdown really starts as a child. And she made an interesting comment that the last third of a trimester, when a woman is having a baby, that last third trimester, the baby can hear and the baby can feel, can sense, feel. And she said that a huge part of that personality really starts developing during that time. So you're talking about three and a third months. You're actually pregnant 10 months. I mean, in a norm, just to term, pregnancy is actually 10 months, not 9. I don't know how that works out, but at the end of the day, that last 3+ months, that baby is already having into he or she's DNA the effects of the outside world. That's why they talk about, I mean, not only not doing drugs, smoking, all that stuff. That's that side. But what I'm talking about is reading to your baby's belly, your mom, either your partner or you reading to the baby, the dogs that lay on the belly. You've seen those in social media, very adorable. They're creating that bond, and there's that emotion. Singing, what you do during that time is as important as what you're doing while raising them. It's a very important aspect, it seems to be. So that's that mental health is I think by far the one that the lane that people have their struggles and come here to go through and get advice on their struggles and actions. It's not just about there's this, and then this is what you do to get through that. I very much have a very, as a matter of fact, politics was a reason we had started this show to a degree, but the biggest reason was because of my own issues, and I needed to write. One of my tools is writing. I express myself, I think, very well through words and the written word, and how that balances out onto a sheet of paper or a computer keyboard. Mental health, addiction, drugs, alcohol, all that is definitely the big one. And then the fourth lane being community, where it's family, it's community, but it's family. It's where the school rejuvenation program comes, which is the fifth core subject in schools, needs to be preparing one for life. From finances, and you start when you're in kindergarten, you start on those 4 core subjects, but it's math is like putting count what's 1 + 1, what does that equal to, very basics, and so that should be the same thing built into, when you're in doing English at that age. It's you do the song, I know my ABCs, and you're singing and writing and learning coloring and all those things that step onto the scale in building one's life. And so that same thing needs to occur in the 5th core core class. There's 288 people on. Appreciate you guys being here. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get 300 people on. Let's get us over to 2,900 and change. We're on a push to get to 10,000 subscribers by November. So let's make this week count. Let's make this a big push, folks. Tell everybody. Thank you very much, Adventure Show. I appreciate that question. James Show. Looks like we've got a couple of podcasts on. How do you both stay so motivated on Monday mornings? I can't wait to get in here. I tell people this all the time. And Barbie's in California. She's behind the scenes, and so I'm answering this for myself. I do this 6 days a week. Sunday is my only day that I don't do it, and then I'm doing a bunch of social media stuff and all that. But I really love this journey that I'm on. I really love the ability. This Barbie was right. This comes out of love. I love what I'm doing. This is my purpose. I finally found my journey, so to speak, and I'm very proud of you guys and how you guys have built this up. It's because I'm following your leads, folks. I mean, I'm talking. I'm here. I'm talking, but without your questions and without your guidance and our of course our guests, then we couldn't do this. So lane 2, let me go on and get back here and as we're talking about things. So lane 2, as I said, is industry innovation. It's new world food, a new world of food, a new micro farming. We were talking about that a couple of weeks ago, and this is where crypto, AI, blockchain, the new way that the world is in business is going to operate, and how AI is going to support us, not eliminate us as people. Like I said, crypto, blockchain, AI, and technology, tools that empower people, not replace them, and how technology can lift the middle class, not erase it. And that's a really, really important lane for folks that are older, especially because I think a lot of people are concerned. That idea came about actually on Maddie's first birthday party. Her grandmother from my daughter-in-law's side of the family, in other words, my daughter-in-law's mother, and I chatted, and she just didn't want to know anything about it because she was afraid of it. And I think a lot of people, I say afraid of it because they had no idea where do you start? It's like you're going to Germany to live next week, and you got to learn German, and that's a whole nother language, right? Same concept here, but it's day in and day out. It's our life, and how that life is going to operate. Right now, AI's been around forever. I mean, it's been around for decades. And Google, to a sense, is that, or social medias, to a sense, are that, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But we need to make sure that we get ourselves involved in the aspects that we can utilize to improve our lives. One thing think about it this way, for folks that are in business. Let's say you're 55 years old, you're 65 years old, you're a salesman. I'm using kind of my own description here. And the reason I say it that way is because before I started closing down some of the contracts and winding that business I built up over 30 years, started winding that down, I was at a couple of, we did shows and all that. And I was talking to some of my compadres, and we got into this discussion of how different sales is going to be, how you find people, where the people that you're looking for. In my case, the engineers, the plant managers, the presidents of companies, the approaching them, finding them, marketing to them, selling my products and services to them is changing. In that the traditional, like magazines and all that stuff, and doing your advertising that way, even shows to a degree. That first of all, where do you send that information out to? Growing up, I never sent anything to TikTok or LinkedIn or YouTube, or the where people are gathering their information and finding out about things, or doing searches on Chat GPT instead of Google. Even Google is now added their own Chat GPT kind of thing. So that's how you stay motivated, is by reaching out and having conversations with people like you, James Show, and the guests that are here. That interaction along with you, the audience, is a motivation in itself. It's just I did 2 shows one day. It was on a Saturday, and that day, between the 2 shows, we reached almost 17,000 people in one day between the 2 shows. About 8,500. One was 87 and change. 8,500 people in the audience. One was for the Regeneration School Project, and the other one was, the one was for Voices at the Table with Emma Lynn. That's Insights and Straight Talk with Emma Lynn and Grandpa Rodd. And the second one was with a national school teacher. I say that for a reason. You have to watch the show. And there was so much thirst for that information. We literally had almost 10,000 people on each show, just in the live audience. Not mentioning, it's the count starts back over when it streamed 2 weeks ago, and now it's got another 4,000 people or so on it. But that's what's the motivation right there, is that message, and that doing as much of your part as you can, and when you have an effect and you reach people, that's motivation. Okay, the film lawyer. Can you share a moment when the 4 lanes truly changed your path? My path changed with the show, so it's actually before that. But I'd say that on a regular basis, my life changes because of the conversations that we have. The conversations that we have are fascinating and informative. And I was telling a guest the other day, I've said this a few times to different guests, I'm getting like free advice, just like you guys are, but I'm doing it literally every day. Sometimes you guys are here, sometimes you're not. However the schedules go in people's lives, you're seeing a show or you're not seeing a show. I'm seeing every one, so I get a lot of really good feedback from different people. I mean, we have in the mental health, for instance, Lane. Right here, let me read that. We can do this together because they go together. Lane 3: mental health, addiction, self-compassion, the arts, and then healing. Healing our families, our workplaces, our country, one conversation at a time, as creativity heals us. Let that soak in for a second. So I've had discussions with a number of different singers and musicians. If you guys know, I come from a very musical family. So does producer Barbie. So music is a very important part. I think it would be in anybody's lane, or anybody's lane. Let's see, what do we got? We're about 50 minutes in. So that's lane 3, and that's the lane that has really had the most, let's call it, effect on my life, on me, because it really, I told you, I always compartmentalize things, hiding behind a mask, always compartmentalize things, and just stuffed things back and held them back and pushed them back, and until one day in May, a year ago, not this last May, the May before, I was at a show, and these freaking boxes just blew up, and they just I lost it. I had a collapse. Still had to make it through the show. It was at night, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then just something kicked off, and I lost it. I just fucking lost it. And yeah, that was a pivotal moment in my life that changed my whole direction, my whole everything. I really sped up this running to this, started the book right after that, and it was a pivotal time. Now every single day with each guest that comes on, and we've got some great guests this week too. But each day, tomorrow, by the way, we're going to do the history and the meaning behind Barbie-isms specifically. I've been collecting these over a couple of decades. Producer Barbie and I were together almost 20 years, and without her, I wouldn't be here. So there's a lot to be able to go through in the Barbie-ism. So we're gonna this mini series actually has 6 shows to it. This entry, and then it's Barbie-isms, and then it's the 4 other lanes. And we're going through what these lanes are now. Like for instance, lane 4 here is about our kids, their voices, community, and culture. This is the heartbeat of Insights and Straight Talk, where humanity speaks as our kids remind us who we are and who we're becoming. From classrooms to kitchen tables, shaping tomorrow's world. These are all honest conversations about how Insights began, where we're headed. The live audience questions are the most amazing things and stories about each and every lane. That's what this mini series is really going to dive into. And a preview of each theme show coming up over the next couple of weeks. Real change starts not in Washington, but it starts at the table with coffee or tea. Courage, and it starts with community. Please like and comment and subscribe here. Join the conversation. Check out our newsletter or our Substack. These are all things that you guys can really can build on and build through. I think that'll do it. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna start to wrap this up. I just wanted to get in here and have some conversations with you. I'm gonna do my Substack here pretty soon. Going to be dropping. I should be able to drop one today. We'll see how it goes, and then I'll drop one a little bit later in the week. Going down to see my grandbaby and my boy and my daughter-in-law, and they live just south of me across the northern Texas border. I'm in Southwest Oklahoma, and so I'm closer to California and my California family and my Texas family. So I'm in a good place. I'm headed the right direction. I've been struggling a lot. I literally have built this up and used all my savings to get here. So please support us. We have some sponsors coming up. If you know anybody that would align and fit with us well, let me know. My email address is roddduff@outlook.com. Of course, Rodd Duff is RODDDUFF @outlook.com. And with that, I am. By the way, stay after, because I'm doing there's about 5 seconds right after the closing outro that you'll see here. You'll see producer Barbie, but hang out there. We're not going to quite get to an hour today, but that's all right. I think we covered enough of what we're up to, and tomorrow I'm going to be focused strictly on Barbie-isms, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Let's see. So that's Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're doing how to save the planet without the politics. So this is about some technologies that this woman has developed that are used in hundreds of countries. I think it's 86 different countries. She developed this ability to clean up oil spills and to find water in countries that they thought there was no water or not able to reach it. That's going to be really interesting. And then Thursday is a young lady that went from cancer to being an amazing health fitness guru. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. So watch this outro, and then right after it, you'll get about 2 seconds of me, and I'll do something goofy. With that, I am your host at Insights and Straight Talk. My name is Rodd Duff, and I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here, and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.